Heads of government declare war on guns, agreeing to ban assault weapons in CARICOM. And the U.S. government urged to stop the flow of illegal guns to the Caribbean.
If there's one thing that our peoples in our respective member states should take from this, is the fact that we are here, that we are serious, that real political will may have been waning, it is now restored, and that there's hope.
Welcome to this week's episode of the CARICOM NewsTime. With the details, I'm Tusanki in English Francis. CARICOM heads of government have declared a war on guns and have agreed to ban assault weapons, except for security forces and sporting competitions. These outcomes emanated from the regional symposium to address crime and violence as a public health issue, held on April 17 and 18 in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago.
The production and sale of handguns in the United States in recent times saw these heavier, more lethal and destructive assault weapons that are designed for military use for maximum destruction. We are saying that we do not require those weapons within our society in a commonplace way because of the outcome of their presence in the society.
CARICOM heads of government have solicited the support for the war on guns from the United States of America. In a declaration issued after the regional symposium on addressing crime and violence as a public health issue, CARICOM called on the USA to adopt actions to stop firearms and ammunition from being exported into the Caribbean illegally. Part of the declaration reads, "We lament the disproportionate share of our national budgets that we are compelled to allocate to measures to address crime, violence, and national security, as well as mental health and other health-related challenges that directly result from the illegal exportation of guns to our region. We underscore our commitment to utilize all human, financial, and other resources to rid our region of the scourge of illicit weapons. We reiterate that the Caribbean must be a zone of peace, which will allow us to achieve our goal of a secure, stable, and prosperous community for all our citizens." Chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister Philip Davis of the Bahamas, told the press how the U.S. is already assisting his country with gun control and outlined areas that can be strengthened.
I have an agent to our gun force, so they assist in us tracing the guns from where it's purchased, identifying the purchasers, and in that instance, that is where they could help further. I think more could be done in respect to once a purchaser in the United States is identified, and it could be shown that that purchaser would have purchased, say, 40 guns within the space of 1 month, which we have evidence of in many instances. And that gun is used in the Bahamas. In some instances, 2 days, a week after it was purchased in the United States. Well, the United States government could do something about that.
Responding to a question about CARICOM's optimism that the U.S. will support the war on guns, Prime Minister Andrew Holness of Jamaica noted the need for action.
If we do nothing, then nothing will happen. If we accept the situation as it is, then the realistic outcome is that guns will continue to flow. It is by starting an action, it is by putting the situation to the United States, whether through legal channels, diplomatic channels, bilateral channels, by joining together, as we have done, to bring attention to the problem, that we will change the narrative, change the outlook, change the perspective.
Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Honorable Philip J. Priere, Chair of the CARICOM Council for Law Enforcement and Security, highlighted the value of raising awareness in Washington about the negative effects of illegal guns in the region.
And I think also it will bring some level of awareness as to the problem, because we may have to take it from that point and deal at the political level. So possibly it may mean that we probably have to write people at the political level to inform them, to make them aware of the magnitude of the problem, because we did not produce guns in any of the islands, and it's proven that most of the guns come from outside. So that document will raise the level of awareness to tell people, listen to me, there is a problem, and that problem is coming from outside, which is impacting on us internally.
Heads of government announced CARICOM will stand with Mexico in the lawsuit against U.S. gun makers who facilitate trafficking of deadly weapons across the Mexican border. The two-day symposium also featured a leaders' roundtable with several CARICOM heads of government and the CARICOM Secretary General, Dr. Carla Barnett. Timothy Austin was there.
At the Symposium on Violence as a Public Health Issue in Trinidad and Tobago, CARICOM heads of government fully committed to a comprehensive overhaul of the criminal justice system to address criminal terrorists, focusing on proactive management of prosecutions, sentencing, and the diversion of young people at risk. Honorable Dickon Mitchell, Prime Minister of Grenada, in his remarks underscored the significance of education in curbing violence among youth.
Our youth are particularly vulnerable to violence, with high rates of involvement in gang-related and interpersonal violence. Education is arguably the most powerful preventative method against crime and violence, providing young people with the knowledge and skills they need to pursue career opportunities, make informed decisions, resolve conflicts peacefully, and avoid involvement in violent behavior.
Honorable Terence Drew, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, echoed similar sentiments, highlighting a plan to target vulnerable youth with public education and social media influencers with positive messaging.
Young people experiencing toxic exposure or who are high risk for the same, we can find them and offer them a suite of interventions to deal with the many issues. We can roll out a campaign of culturally appropriate public messaging using the talents of known social influencers.
Prime Minister of Barbados, Honorable Mia Mottley, advocated for a collaborative and regional response to fighting crime with a focus on building the capacity of law enforcers and forensics and intra-regional rotation of judges and magistrates.
I believe, Prime Minister Rowley, we in December 2018 took a decision that we've never really followed up on properly, which is that our policemen, our customs officers, and our immigration officers need to know one another. You can't ask people to trust people cross-border if they don't know who they are. And on the matter of law and order, the judges, we need to start rotating the use of judges and magistrates in the region to ensure that there is not the familiarity with counsel and other circumstances and the things that people take for granted.
Dr. the Honorable Ralph Gonzalez, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, emphasized a holistic approach to dealing with violence from a public health perspective.
The approach is all of society. We are in the process of redefining the boundaries of the relationship between the family, which came before the state and which came before the market. We're redefining the boundaries and the relationships of the family, the society, which includes the churches, the community organizations, the media, all the array of non-governmental institutions.
Honorable Prime Minister of Guyana, Brigadier Mark Phillips, also endorsed a holistic approach, but emphasized the need to focus on the socialization of young men.
If our militaries, police force, armed forces, defense forces, can take youths from our society and convert them into functional, contributing individuals to our societies in the name of defense and security, I think we need to utilize similar strategies to ensure we reach that supposed 80% of the young male contributing to the development and security of our societies.
CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett urged all stakeholders to embrace the whole of society approach promoted by the symposium.
Heads of government and distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, violence in our region is an epidemic, and like any epidemic, effective strategies to combat the spread require data and research, as well as human and financial resources to allow timely implementation of solutions to address the root causes of crime and mitigate the devastating impact of crime and violence on our societies.
Heads of government concluded the symposium with a list of commitments aimed at strategically targeting the root causes of crime and fostering a safer Caribbean for all. For CARICOM NewsTime, I'm Timothy Austin.
Thank you for watching this broadcast of the CARICOM NewsTime. For more stories, you can visit the CARICOM news site at today.caricom.org or the CARICOM website at caricom.org. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be safe and see you next time.